Now, the Welsh Government says it should be free to control Wales's share of a forthcoming fund to replace EU grants. Long-awaited details of the fund are expected soon, but there's disagreement between UK and Welsh ministers over who should control the purse strings. Here's our political editor, Felicity Evans.
Building skills as well as houses. This project in Gower helps people who've suffered brain injury regain their confidence and improve their job prospects. It's partly funded with EU aid money.
Wales has been a big recipient of European money, and I think it's been a really important part of the mix, giving vulnerable people, disadvantaged people opportunities, giving them access to training.
By June, these houses should be ready for people to move into, and when they do, they'll know the environmental credentials are top-notch. Everything is locally sourced, from the Welsh wool that's providing the insulation to the Welsh timber that's providing the structure. Even the steel on the roof has come from the Tata plant at Port Talbot, just a few miles down the road.
I never thought that after having had a brain injury that I'd be doing something like this. It's, you know, so totally out of my comfort zone.
It helps you get out of it and just uplifts you a bit, yeah.
I used to work in the steel industry, and Tata have provided the roof. So, you know, that makes me feel a bit good.
Over the last 2 decades, Wales has received vastly more EU funding per person than any other part of the UK. And Boris Johnson has promised the country won't lose out under the new scheme, the Shared Prosperity Fund. But there are still no details about how it will work or who will control the money. So today, the Welsh Government published their plan.
All parts of Wales can benefit from the new funding framework. There's a more streamlined system for accessing some of this money and a much more regional way of approaching the decision making. So as a national government in the Welsh Government, we will work with our regions to design the programmes that work for people in their own communities.
But the Conservatives say the Welsh Government has wasted the money it's had from the EU, and it's time for a different approach.
So I want to see a greater say for local communities, for local authorities, and I think that the Cardiff-centric Welsh Government knows best approach is clearly not something that ought to continue.
Skills, apprenticeships, further education, you know, lots of business developments, they rely on this funding. And yes, with 50 days to go, we need to know what's happening.
The UK government says it will lay out its own plans for the new scheme after the Chancellor's spending review next week. But projects like this say they just want to see the details of the new fund nailed down.